And so they came out with a new device recently called the TR1000 Rhythm Creator. And so this is a brand new device with old stuff inside of it. So I'm curious. I went to see it. I know that's cool, but I'm not out there in the woods out there with everybody in the wild who are using it and what they're using it for. And I wonder whether it's going to sell or not and what are the favorite features about the ROLAND 1000, TR1000, excuse me. I want to find out. So we're going to go here to Google and do a search with Chrome with Gemini. I'll turn the mic on here so Google can listen to us. What are the top features of the ROLAND TR1000? I want to know the top 10 features about the ROLAND TR1000 that customers and reviewers like. So the ROLAND TR1000 top 10 features. I had to say it a couple of times because sometimes it's just like, it thinks it's a different device. Here we go. Rhythm Creator, perfect. Okay, let's check this out right here. So ROLAND TR1000 is a rhythm creator drum machine that blends analog, digital, and sampling capabilities. Based on consumer and reviewer feedback, here are some of the top liked features. Okay, how many did they give me right here? We do have 10, great. Let's check these out now. So the top one here is true analog circuits. It's the first ROLAND drum machine in over 40 years to feature a true analog engine, faithfully recreating 16 of the most coveted circuits from the legendary TR-808 and TR-909.
We've taken our most coveted analog circuits from the 808 and the 909 and have given them new life by adding parameters, expanding ranges, and improving the dynamics overall.
Our second feature is the hybrid sound engine. Beyond analog, it claims, it includes multiple powerful digital engines. I've seen this before. So this is the analog circuit behavior modeling, which includes 21 circuit bent 8X and 9X models for extreme sound design. I mean, extreme. Now we also have FM, virtual analog, and PCM engines for bass lines, synth tones, and digital textures.
Something evolutionary. So we used our digital sound engines to expose new sides to our sounds. The digital voices offer a wide range of ACB, FM, and PCM tones. You might ask, are the 808 and 909 ACB models in there as well? They are, but not as you may expect. We spent the last few years cracking open and digitally circuit bending our 808 and 909 ACB models. These new models provide deep and creative percussion synthesis, mutating those same timeless sounds into something new.
So next here, we've got the third most loved feature, advanced stereo sampling. So full-fledged sampling is integrated into the workflow offering. So we have stereo sampling and resampling. Stereo sampling is kind of cool. Kind of weird though when you actually take an old record and sample that. Some old records have the bass on one side, guitar on the other, or some other system going on. But stereo sampling is very good. And resampling is a feature they're having the SP404 Mark II, and I believe also in the SP404 as well. Now we also have BPM sync and seamless time stretching. So it should be able to time stretch sample to the particular BPM you want to get it to. It'll still be the same sample, just time stretched. Now we also have here non-destructive slice editing, similar to the SP404 Mark II workflow. And 46 gigabytes of user storage for a vast sound library, up to 16 minutes per sample.
The TR1000 features a comprehensive sampling engine, which supports stereo recording, non-destructive sample chopping, and time stretching for loops and one-shots. You can also record external sounds or resample internally with specialized modes for one-shots, and tempo synced loops. There's non-destructive sample slicing with up to 16 slices per instrument, allowing each slice to have its own settings for things like pitch and time stretch. I have this drum loop here. I quite like the way it sounds, but I want to chop it up into different beats. So I'll turn on slice, and I can trigger those independently. Each slice can have its own set of settings. So let's say I want to take slice 7, turn on time stretching for it, and make the speed playback be quite slow, something a little bit more extreme. All the other slices will maintain their normal settings except for slice 7. Now,
Number 4, we have deep sound design per track. Each track features powerful inline processing, including its own sound generator, analog and that ACB we talked about earlier. Also, a compressor, multi-mode filter, 4-band EQ, amp envelope controls.
the TR-1000 contains a huge suite of sound design tools. Each instrument comes with its own sound generator, filter, amplifier, compressor, modulation, and effects section. Tracks 1 through 4 are layer tracks, and they combine a variety of sound types together, whether it's an analog bass drum layered with an FM percussion voice, or 2 independent drum loops playing at the same time. Let's take a listen to this pattern. Tracks 1 through 4 use the layer track system. My bass drum has 2 sounds layered on top of each other. It uses a 707 bass drum on layer A and an analog 808 kick drum on layer B. I can mix between those 2 using the mix knob here. And I can turn on an amplitude envelope which will shape my 808 bass drum and soften the attack, making room for the 707 to pop through.
Number 5, analog master effects. A dedicated analog section on the master bus features a state variable filter, SVF, inspired by classic Roland OTA design. Okay. Dedicated analog drive circuit that adds saturation without losing bass weight. Now that's deep. You can have a lot of bass in there and it's saturated. It's going to be in there. That kind of works. But you got to check it out and hear how it sounds. And this is some of the features that Roland has had over the years. So they're stuffing in a lot of stuff that used to be in a Roland, and now they're putting it into this new invented Roland, the 1000, to sort of give you what they had before, but more of it.
Master effects section combines a stereo analog filter and a stereo drive circuit. In this example, I'm taking advantage of just the drive circuit, and I'm using it as more of a finalizer. I can bypass it, and it sounds good, but it sounds pretty clean. Turn it back on, and I get that characteristic type of warmth brought into the mix.
Now we have number 6, and this is a morph slider. This is kind of unique, I guess. A highly praised, customizable performance control that allows users to assign and simultaneously transform multiple parameters like blend between 2 different kits or radically change effects. Change effects real fast, blend between kits. This sounds ill. In real time, no less. So this is in real time, and this is a feature I've tried. It's kind of like wild. It can work if you can sort of get used to it, but you got to be more in the manual about it because some ideas here can go further. Number 7, and that's next generation TR-REC sequencing. So let's record sequencing, and it builds on the classic 16-step TR workflow and modern enhancements. So it's that 16 buttons you tap at the bottom, and you sort of make your sequence up and use it with different sounds. And different samples, whatever you want to use it for, actually. So it's off-grid options for fine-tuning the groove and feels. So you can pretty much change the parameters. That may be at 16th notes, but sometimes it's too stiff, and so you want to get more of the human feel. It allows you to shift to get more of human feel on separate tracks. I can have a shift on my snare, a shift on my hi-hat, so I can make it sound more human than being so rigid and programmed, which is kind of cool. Micro timing, track length, directions, and probability per track, as I just said. And then motion recording for parameter automation. It's kind of cool. So I can get my parameters in automation and tap them in line. And this feature I think it's pretty cool, actually. So that would be good for Roland to have. They haven't had that before. This should work.
Let's jump into the sequencer. The TR-1000 features a classic TR step sequencer interface with 16 step keys, real-time recording, and several tools for creating your own pocket and making your patterns sound more organic and natural. We've improved the sequencing by breaking the rigidity of the classic TR machines by using micro-timing, not just in steps, but in tracks. Adjusting the track timing will push or pull the track's rhythm ahead or behind the beat. Got this pattern that makes use of this drum loop right here. I really like it. It definitely feels super natural, but it's not recorded to a click. And it definitely has a loose kind of feeling, so it's going to combat the hard quantized nature of the grid. So first I'll start with my hand claps, which I know I want to push a little bit ahead of the beat, so I'll adjust the start time of that here. Snares, I know I want it a little bit behind the beat. If I isolate those, I hear I'm forming a nice pocket there. And the final piece of this is this shaker pattern, which I quite like the rhythm of, but it's definitely still way too rigid. So one of the things that the TR-1000 does is individual shuffle per track. So I can shuffle just the shaker without affecting any of the other tracks and start to blend it into that drum loop a little bit. And I'm also gonna push that a little bit behind the beat as well. Start to match the looseness of that drum loop.
Now, number 8, layered tracks. You know, layering tracks is a classic. Sometimes you get a bass drum, you want to change that bass drum, 3 bass drums, 4 bass drums, just to get the right sound, you know. You may want to have one bass drum with hard velocity, one with a softer velocity, and it could be the same bass drum, but you get this feel like one on the downbeat and one that goes through the entire track. It's a classic way that we use sampling drum machines. Now, number 9, extensive I/O and connectivity. I/O is input output, if you don't know that. And connectivity, I can connect to anything MIDI-wise, you know, going in and out, also CV. So it's designed as a studio centerpiece with a wealth of options, including individual audio outputs for each sound. Now, that's great. Outputs for each sound, you want to have those going into a mixing board. My thing today, though, probably it's all digital so much, so going output with cables is a little bit...
The TR-1000 features a high-grade aluminum panel, steel chassis, and universal internal power supply. The I/O section on the TR-1000 is massive. It features individual quarter-inch outputs, there's a sub-output for the analog effects, there is a dual mono or stereo input for external signals, and there's a dedicated headphone output with its own amplifier. There is a whole host of voltage connections for CV and trigger integration. Let's check that out. One of my favorite things about the voltage section is using the trigger input. This trigger input can be set to a few different modes, one of which is clock, which will advance the sequencer one step at a time based off of the incoming voltage. In this example, I have it set up to play only one step, so it's going to be triggering step 1 across all the tracks every time it gets an LFO pulse. If you control the rate of the LFO on the modular side, you get this really cool floating tempo effect that treats the TR-1000 like a drum synthesizer, since you're doing the sequencing on the Eurorack side. The MIDI section is also fully featured. There's a MIDI input and there's 2 MIDI outputs, of which can be configured to DIN sync. There's also a hard through connection as well, so you get no latency from the timing signal coming into the MIDI import. There's a foot pedal input, which is compatible for switches or expression. You can use it for controlling things like start and stop, or assigning the expression pedal to one of the panel knobs. The USB-A port supports USB storage and MIDI devices. You can use it to import and export samples in addition to projects. The TR-1000 connects to your computer using USB-C. The TR-1000 app manages the built-in content and controls all internal parameters, as well as supporting sample import and firmware updating. The TR-1000 is not just a hybrid analog and digital drum machine. It's a creative platform designed to be at the heart of studios, live acts, and inspired projects.
Now, number 10, the high-quality performance focus interface. Okay, it features a rugged metal chassis. It's rugged. It's like, I'm thinking, all the Roland gear is like made of metal. I haven't seen them make a plastic thing yet in years ago. Maybe they do keyboards somewhat plastically, but their drum machine things are like almost all similar. The gray front, the black printing, it's classic. Except for the earlier Roland 909 and the 808 had a really good look to them, but hey, maybe they're cutting costs. I guess everybody's these days. So anyways, you can see here it's pretty good. 16-step grid layout for hands-on expressive creations. That's obviously, we talked about it before, the sequencer. So these are the top 10 reasons why people bought the item, I guess, and reviewers like it. So I wanted to do this. I did one before about the, what was it called? It was called the problems with the other one, but this is a different one too. We do this all the time. We make a positive one and one that's favorites to find out what people like. And we think this device, I think personally, they will improve the device. It has some problems, as I pointed out before, but normally Roland does the same thing. They put a device out, they may have problems with it, but they will keep updating it. There'll be an update, because they're listening to what people say. And that's a good thing about a company like Roland. So any questions, hit me up in the bottom, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Hi everyone, my name is Peter, and I'm the product leader for the new Roland TR-1000 Rhythm Creator. Built from the ground up with input from working artists, it combines analog circuitry, cutting-edge digital sound engines, deep sampling, flexible sequencing, and powerful live performance tools all in one instrument. This is Roland's most advanced rhythm machine to date, designed for producers and performers looking for the highest expression of sound.